What's up YouTube? My name is Levi. Today I'm going to take you on my first flight as a student pilot. I've been going to ground school for about a week now, learning about the plane that we're going to be flying, learning about how all the aerodynamics work, how lift is created, and how that balances out the weight of the airplane, learning about thrust versus drag, and all of the things that go into making an airplane fly. I promise it's not some voodoo magic. Once you actually sit down and study and learn what makes an airplane fly, it makes perfect sense. And part of what makes me want to become a pilot. My flight instructor asked me to do the simple weight and balance calculations for our plane with the plane's empty weight, then adding our weight to the front seats. We won't have any passengers in the back seats, adding then some weight to our luggage compartment because we are two bigger guys, so we gotta kind of off balance that so we can fit within the envelope, and then calculating the weight of the gas and all that stuff. My instructor also asked me to call and get the weather information, just to get in good practice of doing that before every flight that I go on and get familiarized with that, which is a great practice. I believe it's super important to make sure conditions are good for flying and you're not going to put yourself into a risky situation. So I've done that. I've written down all the information that I need. I'm just gonna compare notes with him when we get to the airfield, make sure everything looks good, kind of make sure that I understood what I was hearing. Then we're gonna go through our checklists and make sure that the plane is ready to go and so forth. And as long as all that checks out, today will be my first day in the airplane. I'm a little bit nervous. Not super nervous. I think it's more of an excited nervous. The reason being is this is something I've been wanting to do for 10 years. And I'm just now starting on my journey to actually become a pilot, although it technically started about 10 years ago. Just is very exciting to actually finally do what I dreamt of doing when I was 18 years old. I also decided to go to a smaller company, Venture West, and I'll make another video about that. But if you are considering becoming a pilot and trying to decide what school to go to, feel free to message me and I will give you the rundown of why I decided to go with the school I went with rather than go to one of the bigger schools like ATP or UND. Alright, so I just got to the airfield where we're going to be flying out of today. Actually, most of the time. We're at Falcon Field in Mesa, Arizona. I'm just parked at the office building right now where the flight school is based out of because I don't know where the hangar is yet. So my instructor is parking the plane after getting done with his morning flight with another student. And he's gonna come over here and then lead me over to the hangar, and I'm excited to see what it feels like and take control of the plane and do some maneuvers. Not entirely sure all that I'm gonna be doing today, but should be a good learning experience and good opportunity to feel out the plane that I'll be learning in. I hope to keep these videos going and bringing you guys along on my journey to become a commercial airline pilot. I'll show you guys in a second as we're getting to the hangar what plane we'll be flying and what plane I'll be learning in. And I'll do a post-flight and give you guys my thoughts and let you know what my first experience was like. Alright guys, we are at the hangar and we are about to be flying this Piper Cherokee 180. We just did our pre-flight walk around and now we're going to go do our checklist and get everything set up on the inside. We'll see you in the cockpit.
Here it's easy because there's really
There you are, YouTube. The camera died about 20 minutes before the end of our flight yesterday, and it was just a really long day, so I didn't get a chance to recharge the GoPro or the battery until last night. So I am finishing the recap on the way to ground school this morning. We're gonna review some things, learn some new things, and then tomorrow we're gonna be up flying again, which I'm super excited for, just to see how I can improve from my first time in the plane. My voice might sound a little deep this morning. Got to be to ground school at 8 a.m. It's about 45 minutes to an hour away, depending on traffic. So I get up at 6:25, get my stuff ready for the gym, get some breakfast, get my protein drink, and gather all my things for flight school, which I just realized I forgot my binder. I have my iPad though, so that should be good. So yesterday, after we did our pre-flight checklist, we got in the plane, we went through the startup checklist, got it all started, and then my instructor taxied us to the runway basically. And once we got clearance to be on the runway, he gave the controls to me. He had me put it to full throttle and take off. If I remember right, our rotation speed was somewhere around 60 miles per hour, or nautical miles. I'm not sure exactly. I'm not sure how the numbers were measured on our speed tape, whether that was nautical miles or miles per hour. So one thing I'll add about the pre-flight check is once we got to the hangar, it was my first time ever even seeing the airplane and first time getting in the cockpit. So my instructor, he ran me through the pre-flight checklist. So I was basically following him as we went around, and he did tell me after we got done with the flight that on Thursday, tomorrow, next flight, I will be the one conducting the pre-flight checklist, which will be fun. Oh, this is fun. Some guy's getting arrested. He's probably going way too fast down this road, trying to pass some people, being a crazy maniac. Drive safe, guys. Anyways, so yeah, I'll be doing that pre-flight checklist, running through that. Shouldn't be too hard. I mean, it's part of the checklist. You just gotta follow it and make sure you're looking at all the right things, and yeah. So that's exciting. Maybe he'll give me a little bit more of the controls. Hopefully I can maintain my altitude and speed and headings a little bit more in the appropriate range more of the time. Not that I did terrible or anything, but it's definitely a little bit of a learning curve. At least it was for me. Some people are maybe born naturals, but it having been my first time, it was just a lot to be looking at and trying to do all at once. Not like driving a car. Hopefully it gets to the point where it's as easy as driving a car, which I'm sure it will with enough practice and time behind the yoke. After we got up in the air, we climbed out from underneath the Class B airspace, and once we got to the 3,500 feet out of Class B airspace, my instructor gave the controls to me and had me maintain a heading and try to maintain a speed and try to maintain an altitude, which at first was a lot, it seemed like. I got a little too fixated on the heading and lost track of altitude, and once he pointed that out, I kind of figured out a rotation, if you will, where I was able to make sure my speed was good, make sure my altitude was good, and then pick an object outside of the airplane that was on point with our heading, so that I could kind of just fly towards that and not be having to fixate on too many different things all at once. Once I got that all figured out and squared away, I won't say it was easy, but I started getting more familiar with it on maintaining the heading, maintaining the altitude, and maintaining the speed. He had me do 280-degree turns, which were pretty cool. And then I gave the controls back over to him, and he showed me steep turns. We did about 2 360-degree figure 8 steep turns, which was pretty cool. Fun to just see what the airplane is capable of. You guys will pretty easily be able to see that my head is pretty much touching the the roof of the cockpit. These smaller aircraft are definitely not built for taller people. And being about 6'4" doesn't really help my case. I could hear my headset rubbing on the metal roof of the cockpit almost the entire flight, which was slightly annoying, but I'm gonna try moving my chair one click forward to see if I can kind of get away from that, if not 2 clicks maybe. Just want to be in a comfortable position where I can relax. I don't know if you guys noticed the headset I had on. I'll make a video about that, but it's the UFQ Bluetooth headset. I can't say anything bad about it. It worked great. It had great active noise canceling. I'll do a review on that later, let you guys know my thoughts and feelings. There's a Bose A20 headset that my buddy has that he said I can try out just to see how it compares and how I like it, and kind of give you guys my thoughts on that and let you know if it's worth the money to just go Bose all at once, or save a little bit of money while you're in flight school and get something slightly comparable. So if any of you guys are familiar with Arizona, we flew kind of out towards Superior from Mesa. That's where we kind of did our turns. I guess I did the first turn to kind of get us directed towards there, and then he showed me his steep turns. He hadn't flown the airplane for about 4 months because it was getting some work done to it. So he thought he was going to be a little rusty, but from what I could tell, he did really well, which was super awesome. JR, my instructor, has been great. He's super good at explaining things, super good at helping me understand things that maybe don't quite make sense to me the way I feel they should, or just kind of get that further understanding to make sure things are clear and I'm actually truly learning and getting the knowledge that I should be. Once we got done doing the steep turns, he gave me a new heading, kind of directed back towards Falcon Field. Made the turn to that, maintained that heading until we got a couple miles out, and then he took over so we could get in the traffic pattern at 2,400 feet. He did the landing, and again, it was smooth as butter. I was super impressed. Him having not flown that airplane for about 4 months, it seemed like he had not skipped a beat, hadn't dropped the ball at all, and things went super well. Got back to taxied back to the hangar, called the fuel truck, got the fuel truck to come fill up, parked the airplane in the hangar, and closed up shop and headed home. And well, I headed to the gym, got a good workout in, got home, finished making my makeshift DIY knee board with an iPad case, which I will show you guys how I did that as well in another video. I think it's super great and awesome. It's not super over cumbersome and not gonna cost you an arm just to have a knee board as you're flying around. It's super easy to make, super cheap, and super compact and easy to use. Anyway, there was one point as well where my flight instructor was telling me about a gravel runway down in Superior. I didn't really see it because I wasn't really watching for it and I didn't know where to look. So gave the controls back to him. He kind of banked us to the left and then banked us way back to the right, and boom, the runway was right below us basically, and I was able to get a good picture of that, kind of see where that runway in Superior was. So another thing I was doing the entire time we were flying was anytime my instructor had the controls, I still had my feet on the pedals and my hands on the yoke to try to get a feel for what he was doing so that I could kind of just feel it out for when I'm performing those maneuvers or doing those things. And even during the landing, I had my feet on the pedals and my hands on the yoke just to kind of get a feel for how he was coming in for that landing. I mean, I feel like that's super insightful, is to just very lightly have your hands on everything, very lightly have your feet on everything, just so you could get that feel. You don't want to be stopping your instructor from having control or anything like that. You definitely want to make sure it's light and he can do what he needs to, obviously, because he's in control, and I don't know how to land an airplane yet. Don't know how to specifically do steep turns or anything, or stuff like that, but he does. So just recommendation I have is lightly keep your feet on the pedals and hands on the yoke. Let everything move freely as your instructor is manipulating those things. But that's a good way to learn and get that feeling down. So when you're doing those maneuvers yourself, you have a better idea of what you're trying to do rather than going cold turkey and trying to land, right? Now, obviously, if your instructor tells you not to do that, not to have your hands on the yoke or feet on the pedals when he's in control of the plane, don't do it. Obviously, he's in charge. He's the pilot in command. He's the PIC. You gotta listen to him. My instructor was very cool with having me try to get that feeling on everything, so I would be even more prepared for when I'm performing those maneuvers myself. I have some new GoPro batteries and charging station on order, so hopefully my GoPro doesn't die again and it doesn't take me so long to finish up the recaps or finish up what I'm sharing with you guys. If you guys have any comments or questions about my first flight as a student pilot, comment below, like the video if you liked what I shared. We'll see you on the next flight.